Welcome back to That's Good, Pick It Up, a podcast mostly about golf books. This is Robbie Woodard, the founder of BestBall and producer of this podcast for my friend Nate Oxman. In this podcast, Nate talks with different authors and storytellers about the great things they are doing in golf and how they've written about it. This is part 2 of a 3-part series where Nate talks with John McLaughlin, 32 years behind the scenes of the U.S. Open. It's a great podcast, and I think you guys will enjoy this conversation, but be sure to come back next week for the final part. If you like these podcasts, check out the rest in the BestBall family. You have the Whole Story podcast, Off the Deck, Southern State of Golf, and Pictures on the Scorecard. You can find all these at bestball.com. But for now, enjoy part 2 of That's Good, Pick It Up.
What were your main responsibilities in the tower?
At the tower?
Yeah.
It's a good question. One of my responsibilities, and I had binoculars too. Okay. And I told Ben Harvey that. He's my boss. Even though I was 39, he was 26.
Yeah.
He was very much in charge. I'm going to tell you that right. He was very much in charge. I said, I'm going to bring a camera in binoculars. He thought, good idea. He said, yeah. He said, as long as you don't bother anybody. So I'm not going to bother anybody. Okay. So I sat, the tower isn't that big. It's a picture of the tower. It's not the right tower. That would be a wing foot, but it's the same idea.
Yeah.
And then these are a couple of people. This is a sound mixer that used to be there. And then this guy here was a guy that kept. He had a table that they had the big scoreboard, like you see on the board, and they had maybe 15 names on it. So it's like he's dealing with big names.
Really?
And he was keeping it as he was hearing things, so that the announcers would say, "Oh, we just learned that David Graham,
Wow.
just bogey 11."
Yeah.
They didn't have a camera at 11 back then.
Yeah.
So then they had, so things are so much different now. God, amazing how small, just amazing how small an event it was back then, and how sick and gigantic it is now.
Yeah.
And I lived through all of that.
Right.
And I didn't really notice it until I stepped back and started looking at some of my stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one of my responsibilities was to find celebrities, if I can, in the crowd around 18.
You serious?
Yeah, no, that's one of the things they asked me to do. And not that, listen, I'm not responsible for people who were there.
Right.
But if I see anybody, if I see Oprah Winfrey, I don't know, she's in Chicago, but if I see, I can't think of
Yeah. Wow.
just tell Ben Harvey, and we'll
Like Mike Schmidt or somebody.
Yeah, like they hit the 3 seconds of fame.
Yeah.
And the other thing was anything unusual. That happens. One of the things he says, don't tell me there's a death girl on the 18th drop. That's not unusual. We don't care about that. And he gave me a couple of examples, and I figured out what they were. But let's be also just common sense. The other thing that I had veto power, which I didn't know I had, everything that went through the production stuff went through me first. So the system, the communication system was very limiting. Only one person at a time could talk. And that was until the very, very end. And still today. Once I am talking, nobody else can be talking. And that's why I say in the book, if they ask you a question and you can answer the question in one word, you write it.
Yeah.
Like don't say 8 iron, say 8.
Yeah.
Because the sooner I can get off, then somebody else can come in.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got 100 people on the line.
Right.
And the production truck was the people that are asking the questions.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get the answers and give it to Johnny Miller.
Yeah.
Or in my case, the first case was Jim McKay and Dave Marr. Okay. So, it wasn't, they don't need someone saying, well, it's really hot out here, but I think he's going to hit a 5, maybe a 4. But no.
Yeah.
You're fired. You're done. That's how you get fired. Okay. Do that more than once and you're done. So anyway, so I had like veto power. So if I heard something coming through, and I didn't think it was going to be right, I would say, I'd question it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I didn't do that very often at all. If I did at all, the only thing I did to was when that guy on 13 said it was an 8 iron.
Right.
And then Harvey said, we're not putting it on the air. And I said,
Right, Nicholas hits at 150, not 130 or something.
yeah, 133
Yeah.
is what the day you played 133. That
Yeah.
was right front. So, I said to Ben, I didn't call him Ben. Well, yeah, I did call him Ben, I guess. I didn't call him Mr. Harvey. I said, yo, Ben, I know the guy on 13T. Caddy, he's a good player. He's a neighborhood guy. I don't know his name, but I know who he is. He's not making that up.
Yeah.
Right. But I guess.
Yeah.
It's as much as Sunday. It's just Sundays. Anybody who didn't know what they were doing was fired by Friday. But you got the right people on Sunday afternoon at 4:00 in the afternoon, right? And he's leading, and he's 13T. So, and then when Jack flashes it, because when I say, somebody in the gallery yelled, "Hey, Jack, where'd you hit it? He had a great shot.
Mm-hmm.
He hit it like 4 feet." I played that, but you probably played that hole too.
Yeah.
But you play that hole, and you see the pin in the right front. It looks like it's in the trap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And for the U.S. Open, he's probably got 3 or 4 feet either side, but it doesn't look that way. And so for him to hit that club is very unusual. There's no question about that. So he flashes it, and Ben Harvey has to come on to me, and I'm sure it was difficult to say,
Yeah.
I should have listened. I said, Ben, just trying to do my job.
Mm-hmm.
So that incident and the incident with Ioka on 18 green when he made the putt, that enlisted his trust in me,
Right.
and that he knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
I bet.
It was a real big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time it was a big deal.
Right.
Because as I look back on it, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So what he do, if he put me back in the tower on, the next U.S. Open, so until he did away with it, that's one thing he didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
I got that covered.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty important job. That's a pretty important job.
Yeah.
I mean, so that was cool.
And you were there. So at Winged Foot, I liked how Nicholas joined you in the booth. You asked Nicholas for his autograph.
Yeah. I made a big meeting before that, production meeting, and Ben Harvey said, "Don't even think anybody, not just me, it's just nobody in the group. Don't be pestering him." And he was not in it. He finished like about noon.
Right.
He was not going to win the U.S. Open. And he was very, very nervous. He, meaning Nicholas, was very, very nervous about it. I was told, I don't know, they would telling us that in the meeting, and look, he's really like uptight. He's never done it before.
Yeah.
Don't bother him. And don't even think about getting an autograph. And I said, I'm not an autograph guy. I'm not. I could get a lot of autographs.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't into that. Yeah. And that happened that particular Sunday afternoon. I wore a white visor. And ABC didn't give out hats. NBC gave out hats. ABC didn't have hats until a little bit.
Yeah.
So I always wore a visor before I lost all my hair. Not all, though, most of it. But I wore a white visor that day in the tower. Anyway, so yeah, when it was over, he was nervous. You could tell him he was sitting right next to me. It's very small. It's a small little, but you can see how small it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real big. This is not the right tower. This is the one that we put. Yeah, this is it here. So, this machine takes up a lot of, that's a monitor they're looking at. So they're sitting on either side of the monitor.
Yep.
And they have to see, and this is probably me over here on the right, something like that. Anyway.
Were you nervous asking for his autograph?
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, I didn't consider it until I did it.
Yeah, you just did.
I didn't even consider it. I'm not a big, fan of the media. Like, I'm not a Swiftie. I'm just not into that stuff.
Do you still have it?
Huh? Well, I think I do. As I say in the book, I know I have it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because when it was all over, he was really relaxed. He pushed back. He was done with Jack Nicholas. And I was sitting closer than to you. I'm sitting right there. And I'm saying to myself, okay, he said, yeah.
Yeah.
I can. Do I risk it? No, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Although I haven't been credential. I said, I'm going for it. So, hi, Jack. I said, do you believe it's anything? I said, great show.
Yeah.
What's in my sign in my house? I said, oh. Shit, Jack. I don't know. Thank you so much. Oh, no. You had to do it. Real nice guy. And I still saved that hat. Boy, I know I have it somewhere, but I never got rid of it.
Tell me about watching McKay do that intro about the love triangle at Shinnecock.
Oh, yeah. The linear red velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I left something out of that too. There's more to the story than actually. Well, back of it, I should rewrite the book, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, he wanted. He wanted. He knew about that. I didn't know nothing about.
Yeah, I didn't know about it.
He's telling us in a production meeting that he'd like to incorporate the girl Red Velvet Swing, the producer who committed murder, and it's got to do, and it turn of the century, you know.
Yeah.
And he said it's kind of neat that the architect who built the clubhouse as part of his love triangle,
Right.
and it's all in this one book called The Lady in Red Velvet. Other people care, you know,
Right.
the tape and everything.
Yeah.
No, but I ain't less with it though, but I'm just sitting with a chair in the corner over here, right? So we break up, and McKay knows that I'm in the booth because I've been there for 3 or 4 years, right? So he says to me, "It is the St. Joe's guy. I went to St. Joe's. Yeah, graduate St. Joe's." Says to me as they're like leaving this room, he says, "Where are you staying?" I said, "I'm at East Hampton." He said, "I'm in East Hampton too." And I said, "All right." He says, "Did you go to the did you go to their library, that little teeny tiny library? That's like the one in the Manila Shopping Center. You know, the one that's
Right. The temporary one.
yeah, same size as see if you can find something when those 12 swings they gave me was." And I did. I found it. And he said, "Do me a favor." He said, "If anything you find, just take it to my hotel and put it and give it to the lady at the front desk and have them give it to me." So I said, "Okay." He said, "So I did that." And it was not anything important. It was probably things you always do, but I found it. And so now he's ready to go. Okay. Whatever research he's just done and everything. And he did all of his own intro. He did all of his own, where nobody ever wrote anything. Because he was good and he knew it.
Yeah.
And he was good. So we'll get to the tower around 10 o'clock. And it starts. Well, I'm not even paying attention because they're over there with the sound mixer and camera guy. And he's looking at what they call it's not stock tape, but it's file tape or something. And it's going to start with a helicopter going right toward a cliff, and it's going to rise up. And there is Shinnecock's 18th Bean and the clubhouse right next to it.
Wow.
Okay? Really cool.
Yeah.
And all the while he's telling the story about this love triangle, and then when he's done, he's doing it to him. He's like mumbling to himself, and he's looking at tape. And he's hunched over at a monitor. The monitor is relatively small, and he's looking at it. He's kind of getting his timing down.
Yes.
And he's doing it. The thing's only a minute and a half, if that. Okay, these things aren't 8 minutes too long.
Right.
I'm sure. And he's doing it, and he's not happy, and he's just saying to himself, he's not bothering anybody. And so anyway, he finally, I guess he gets it right, because the last thing he says is, then he finishes, he says something to the effect that, "Isn't that right, Dave Moore? Isn't that right, David?" And that's the key for David to pick on a doll.
Right.
He said, "Yeah, Jim, the matter of fact, on the 15, we have
Right.
That's just trying to make that as seamless as possible."
Yeah.
And it's much more difficult to do than to say.
Right.
Sure. Because these guys are professionals. So anyway, so he gets it right. And then he says around, it was about 11:30 in the morning. He makes an announcement. In the booth is McKay, Marr, the pro that keeps the sheet, myself, sound mixer, cameraman, and the stage manager. He's useless in my opinion. But there were the 7 people that were in the house. Okay, so we're all there. And as the story goes, he's ready to go, and he's just ready to go. And they start the helicopter coming across the Long Island Sound tape, the film. He starts, and it comes up to bring the box lunches. Yeah. Okay. He's got like bundled up. So that's one of the jobs.
Right.
It's one of the bad jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm sure he was told, but these things are kind of rickety.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you have to take your time. He did.
Yeah.
But he comes up as McKay is just beginning to do the thing about the girl developed, and everybody's listening. We're listening, and the voice is terrific, and there's some music, which there's some music going in. It's going to be, they're going to tape this. This is the print, what they call a print. And it's 11:30. It's, going to tape it. They're on the air at 1:00 when they play it. And he gets all done. They all give him a little self clap. And he says, what do you think? And we all say, great. Yeah. It's really in front of it. As he wants that. He's not about, he doesn't want to hear.
Yeah, you think could have been better?
Not this kid. Yeah. He's like, probably a grad student at MIT or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe Columbia, or maybe even Syracuse.
Yeah.
In their sports advertising.
Yeah.
And he says, I think you should change this phrase around. Oh, boys. We all had like this dry part in our mouth. Yeah. Like, oh my God, what is this? We didn't know who he was.
Right.
How did he get here?
Yeah.
Because we're like dead.
Yeah.
And he's like coming up the steps.
Yeah.
Dave Moore. I'm not Dave Moore. Jim McKay pushes back from that chair and he turns around and says, where were you when the face?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, right?
Yeah. That is great.
That's a great. I've used that a few times when people critique stuff.
Yeah.
But just the way he said it, it's almost like he had it planned. Okay, and I know he didn't.
Yeah.
Where were you when the page was played? And this kid probably felt like he's a whale shit. I don't know what. Obviously, he didn't change anything, and it really went. It was really well done. It was really well done. And then I would put a picture of the book. Well,
yeah,
picture of the book in the book. Which is really
I was reading about it.
It was really hard to find.
Yeah, it is a crazy story. I love the whole upbringing of the story.
Yeah, I had one of people had got that book.
Really?
Just to read about it when they found it in my book. I give them the credit.
Yeah,
in the book. So that's one of the things that my publisher kind of made me do.
Right.
To do that,
I
have to give the credit. Right. I understood that because I wasn't trying to get away with it.
Right.
It's like the Disney stuff that I had.
Yeah.
Their general, there's no priority on things.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I did have pictures in the book that were prioritized that the publisher caught.
Yeah.
Only 2 or 3 of them. And he said, I forget what they even were. And he said, John, we can do this. We can use these pictures if we want. We're going to have to get permission. We may have to pay for them, and we're going to charge you. And I said,
yeah.
And I said, all right, let me see if I can find something on the internet that I found pictures. So, but yeah, they're very particular about pictures, about the prioritizing of someone's artwork or something like that. Could have a picture of Pinocchio, which is a cartoon, but they said, that's okay because that's like generally known.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. It's not prioritized. And that was a big deal because it's a short chapter. It's pretty important.
Yeah. Tell me about. So the changes then were the next year at Olympic, right? Where you called Ben, you got Ben Harvey's number in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah, because we got I don't know how we found out, whether we got a letter or it was in the news or Golf Magazine, that ABC was changing their, it must have been a letter. Got a form letter saying everybody on the mailing list, just way before email.
Yeah.
We got a letter that said that we're changing our production from static to mobile. Instead of hiring 30 people, we're going to hire, I think, at least 12 or 15. And that's all we can tell you right now. This is from the production company, the producers. Not from Ben Harvey, but from the producers.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And so we got that in July.
Mm-hmm.
So in a full year.
Yeah, wow.
A long time. And that's when I always got just a year ahead of time.
Yeah.
I thought, got everything. So I said, okay, well, this is not a good thing. I got to find out. I need more information than this. And I'm an older man now. I'm not a kid.
Right.
I've been doing this for a while. I got a little bit of street cred going for me. And I knew that. And I didn't want to lose that job. And no one's going to be in the tower except he paying more. Anyway, so I said, okay, now I got to find out. So I ended up calling, okay. He may give it to everybody. I don't know. Well, first of all, I probably called them at the wrong time. It's a 6-hour difference. It's 3 hours to California. It's another 3 hours to Hawaii. I probably called her in the morning. I don't know. I forget when I called her. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
And then that's when he said, we're only going to hire 12 people. You settled down a little bit and told me, he's like, I can't guarantee it. I don't know. You know what I know. You can hire 12 people. We're going to do it on the golf course. No more tower. No more stick people. You know, I don't know. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So anyway, you know, and he said to me, you'll be getting a letter in May about what's really going to happen, you know, mid-May, because it's, you know, the second week of June, U.S. Open. And he said, if you're on the mailing list, you'll get that letter. So I said, okay. And I know the last thing he said to himself and to me was, don't ever call me as long as you live. But he didn't say that, but I knew, like body language, right? Don't ever do this again, right? I never did. So, sure enough, the May thing came. He spelled out in detail what they're going to do, as much detail as they could. And we're going to, you know, we're going to walk with the groups and whoever we hire. We're going to hire. I think it was 12. It's 12 people, not let's hire 12 people. And it's going to be the Olympic, which is California, you know, Daly City. And that's kind of like all I've said. So I'm saying to my wife, I was married at the time, obviously. My mother and father were still alive. He said, well, do I go to California? They already screwed up Pebble Beach the first time. I didn't go. You know, I told everybody I would go. I said, I am now. But then who I am now.
Right.
I'm a known quantity.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. You know, so I said, my father said, typical father. If you don't go, you're going to regret it. And it's not like the money it's going to take for me to get there is going to change my lifestyle.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
You know, I got vacation. I was a valuable employee of the company, a very small company, but very valuable employee. It's a family-owned business. I mean, I was like one of the family. They understood. They were all golfers there. So I was the hero. Come back from the U.S. Open, they went to like throw rose petals at my feet, you know, because I had all these stories to tell. So anyway, so I said, oh, I'm going to go. I said, this is so much unlike me. I like things.
Yeah.
Know what I'm doing, right? I'm not a crazy, you know, a hippie, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, I did. I went. I went, and on Wednesday afternoon, then the thing said, if you think you want to be hired, come to the production trailer at noon on a Wednesday, and we're going to let you know. Oh, we're not what they said. Please reply if you want to be followed by from the interview, because they didn't say no to anybody.
Right.
A lot of people said to themselves, oh, God.
Yeah.
22-year-olds and I'm 42 years old. Like that, you know, so you're more important to me. Plus, I started thinking about, can I do this forever? That's why I started thinking about this. This would be a cool thing to do. It's a great vacation, vacation to do it. So I go, and there's about 30 or 40 of us, maybe 30 of us, as I say in the book, it's like when the poop comes out.
Yeah.
Easter Sunday, millions of people are out there waiting with bated breath for this message from the Pope. Well, same idea. We're sitting on the ground. It's like a little amphitheater. You know, we're sitting on the ground, and we're like, you know, fourth graders waiting for the teacher to give out lollipops.
Yeah.
And oh boy, I can remember so clearly. I can remember a voice in that trailer saying, "He came all the way from Philadelphia. We got to do something." And I said to myself, that's got to be Ben Harvey. And I think he's talking about me, which meant I probably didn't make the first cut. You know, they probably said, okay, you're in the 12 guys alphabetically.
Right.
There they are. We don't care. But, and I don't know this. I have no idea. I just heard the voice. I'm not a voice expert. So anyway, and actually people were coming around, sitting around like a big picnic. And people were saying like it was like 12:10, you know, and they said noon. Yeah, you know, they were saying, but if it's going to happen, you know, there's only going to be 12. Look at all these people that are here. I didn't know. And so it's about 20 after 12. Ben comes out, got a long piece of paper. He tells everybody, hey, these are the people we're going to hire alphabetically. I was on the list, thank God. Then he gave everybody who didn't get on the list a credential to go to the U.S. Open for free. And he said, you can use them, you could sell them. You don't care. Their names weren't on. It was a generic one. Okay. And he said, we're really sorry. He was very nice about it. He said, I'm really sorry. We can't hire until because of the economy. He made some excuses. It was probably correct. So, he said, but these are the 12 people that we're going to work with. And he said, thank you so much for your pass. And if anything comes up, we'll get back to you, the usual stuff. And that was the end of it. And these other 31 people or 21 people left. We're standing there and he says, okay, production meeting tomorrow. This was Thursday morning, of course, 7 o'clock as usual. And we said, we'll give you what's going on. And we didn't care what was going on because we got hired.
Yeah.
We did. And the people who got hired had done it before. Right. At some level.
Yeah.
And so that was great, and a lot of us became friends over time because
that's cool.
Because we stayed together. Actually, some of us even crossed over from ABC to NBC. But yeah, it was kind of neat to see. It's like same time the next year. Then the people get together the same day every year.
Yeah,
that's what it reminded me of, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was it. Yeah, and it worked. It didn't work the first day, which was Thursday, because Fabio worked.
And then you got there. I like the story about you got stuck near Watson and Bruce Edwards.
On Friday, because on Thursday we hopscotch, and the USGA people were terrible.
Yeah,
they had no clue. They're busy, they're old people. So on Friday morning, production people was just us, no USGA, and I'm not going to go back and get it the book, but right. So they say, okay, we're going to do every hole. Oh, that's good. Okay, all right. We're not going to, they didn't make any excuses. They didn't say why this happened. We knew why it happened because we could hear on the phone.
Right.
We could hear when there's something, and they're taking 19 seconds to say 8-iron.
Right.
You can't have that. Right? Duh. So anyway, and it couldn't work. They couldn't work. The microphones have a button on them, and you can't push the button and talk. You have to push the button for a count and then talk.
Okay.
It's like a delay on purpose.
Yeah.
Like a cough button.
Right.
On the media.
Yeah.
If you press it. Because USGA people never picked that up. They're even talking before they push the button. So by the time that ninth word comes out, that's what they've been talking about. Anyway, they were gone. So anyway, on I think it was the fourth hole. I'm sure it was the fourth hole. Watson hits a ball and we trap the front, and they want to know what the lie was like in the truck. So I hustle down. I way ahead of everybody else, and I get right next to the truck, and I'm sitting on the edge of the trap, and he's got a bad lie, and so I say, how's the lie? He said, Judge, it's really a tough lie. It's really a tough lie. He said, okay, well, so then camera comes in on the line. I don't see it. Camera comes in on the line. Now, in the meantime, now they all come in. Now there are people coming down. But so now people are behind. I don't know this. There are people behind me, 5 deep. More than 5, because Watson did it.
Mm-hmm.
So the truck says something to me like, what's Tom think of them? What's his body language tell Ray after this thing? And I'm going, Tom's here. Yeah, he's in the trap with Caddy.
Edwards.
Edwards. And I'm saying, I can't talk because they're ready to get ready for the shot, right? Because they're away. Bruce Edwards looks at me and he says, what's your problem? Because he's made NBC's pretty obvious. ABC. And I said, I have to talk to the truck and I can't talk here. And he just goes, okay, leave. It's like the archangel of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
And so I get up and I do this little herb walk through the and the truck's yelling in my ear because I wasn't answering them, which I learned later. All learn if you can't answer, you got to blow into the microphone so they know that at least it's working when you can't talk.
Yeah.
I should have gone, They didn't teach us that the first day. They got us out like a couple of days later.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that means, okay, something's up here,
right.
but the equipment works.
Yeah.
So anyways, I went back to this incident, and so I said to myself, okay, lesson learned.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
And I never did.
Yeah. And then, so Brookline in '88, Jerry Pate wasn't happy with you. You were talking to Trevino.
Oh, that was awful. I was so embarrassing.
He was really talking to you, right? Trevino.
I have yet to talk to Lee Trevino. I haven't said a word in my lifetime. I've never said a word to Lee Trevino because I'm with some group that wasn't doing anything, and Ben Harvey from John McLaughlin said, "Hey, you got drop back, Trevino, Aoki, the third, they're making a move. We help one moment." So I went out to. It was a 12th fairway, something like that, and jumped under the ropes right where his ball was. I don't know. I didn't even know it was his ball. Because I got on the ropes, obviously, with that credential.
Yeah.
And he comes walking up to me really fast, he goes, "Yeah, I'm glad to see you." Son, he doesn't even know who I am. That's a Toby Trevino, because he's like that.
Right.
He says, "I need somebody to talk to."
Yeah.
Herman's too tired. Herman's a big black guy. And Aoki, it was Sebi. Sebi doesn't speak to anybody, and Aoki doesn't speak English. So he said, I got to talk to somebody. And he's like, he's doing this arm thing, and he's not even away. So he's like the third guy that hit. And over in the middle of the fairway was Jerry Payne looking at this interaction between me, who just arrived, and Trevino, like we're buddies.
Yeah.
And I don't say a word to him. I didn't say, "Look, I got to do money." I didn't say anything. Yeah. And he talks to Herman. Herman catches up to him when they go. So they hit the shot, and then they can move off. As they move off, Jerry Payne walks through me, and I'm waiting. I'm being courteous to waiting for him to get ahead of me before I start walking. And Jerry Payne runs over to me, practical odds, real fast. I says, "I'm going to have your credential. You know you can't talk to the players. It's just one. You should know that's the one thing you can't do. And here you are talking to me to being in the middle of you guys. So I'm going to have your credential, and I'm going to have you fired." And I go, "Oh, I'm done. Because I'm nobody." Right. He's there.
Yeah.
And Trevino didn't even know he did anything wrong.
Yeah.
I can't go to Trevino and say, "Would you please tell them?" Yeah. Sure, I'm not doing that. So sure enough, I won't say you stayed a shot, but I was really upset. And when the 12th hole, I got 6 more holes to go. My heart wasn't there. I know I'm going to be fired. I didn't talk to Jerry Payne. I wanted to stay. So anyway, he gets in his car.
Yeah.
He's 5 spot. He never even offers me a ride. Anyway, so I get back, and Ben Harvey is waiting for me, just like this, outside the main entrance of the compound. That compound's pretty big, and it's really big. He's waiting for me, and he says, "Tell me your side of the story."
Yeah.
Because he's only getting Jerry Pates. Yeah. And I told him the story. And he says, "Look," he says, "don't worry about it." He said, "Jerry Pate's an asshole. We all know it. He's just a customer. We knew what he was telling us was fabricated, overblown."
Yeah.
He said, "So here's what we're going to do."
Yeah.
He said, "We're going to put him somewhere, and we're going to go in there." And we said, "Don't worry about it. We're doing a good job," whatever he said, getting you calm down. And it made me feel really good because I thought I was done. It's really good. I just said,
I bet.
I didn't do anything wrong. I'm going to get fired.
Yes.
It'd be different if I had said, "Hey, Lee, could you take this back?"
Yeah. Right.
I'd say, "You know what? That was stupid.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that. I deserved to be fired. I'm a jerk off, right?" It didn't happen.
And I really liked hearing about Gil Morgan in '92 at Bevel.
Train wreck.
Yeah, that must have been crazy.
Well, up to that time, there would ever been 10 under with the U.S. Open. Okay, from the whole history of the U.S. Open, no one's been more than 9 under par, ever. And I was with Gil Morgan at Saturday. It was a Saturday night, and we're on the 16th. You ever played Pebble Beach?
Yeah, never been there.
The first 3 or 4 holes were pretty banal. It's a nice start. It's far enough away from Monterey Peninsula. No wind. And then when you get to 16, you're hitting right into no wind coming off of Monterey Peninsula. It's a par 5. It's straight. It's straight and it goes really high up with dog legs. Like, it's a tough hole. Really a tough hole. Anyway, so he comes off the fifth green, 10 under. He birdied 50, number 5, whatever. That's a big deal. It's never happened before in the history of the U.S. Open. So he's having memory. Every person on the golf course who's immediate is around the tee. This is the kind of thing you never see at the Masters.
Right.
You notice that? Most people at the Masters don't let anything like that happen. Nothing. Zero. I have people that work the Masters, they say, you want to get fired? You do something like that.
Right.
Anyway, the U.S. Open, just the opposite. It's casting thousands. Literally casting thousands. So anyway, we're on and I'm with the group, me and the fellow Rossberger with the group, Rossi. And so he hits a shot in the right rough. And it was not a good place to be. And then he hits another shot, didn't bend very well at all. Another hit, he hit really fat, gnarly rough, and it was probably went 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, something like that. So what he should have done, he lifted the green, he should have chipped out. Fairway, taking his one stroke, and maybe he makes a putt. Hey, we never know. Well, he didn't do that. He makes like 7 or 8, some shit like that. I forget did I pick the book or not. Then Harvey comes on and says, Are you watching? What's he doing? What is going through his mind? Like, I can answer that. Like, I'm clairvoyant, like Dr. Joe Morgan something. And I said, I don't know, I tried to reply to him. And he said, all right. So then he goes on, and it turns out, then Harvey gets me on like 16, says, or 17, whatever it was. So you are witnessing the biggest train wreck in the history of the U.S. Open. So I think he shot like 88 or 87, something like that. I forget, a real big number. And he said, you can tell all your friends you see the biggest train wreck in the U.S. Open. I said, all right, thank you.
Crazy. And then 94, you were there with Palmer, right, for his last.
That was at Baltus Roll. His last round. Yeah, Friday. He went off really early because he had no chance to win.
Right.
And Ben Harvey came to me and he said, you want to do something really special? He said, we don't have somebody cover Palmer. He's not going to make the cut. Because he knew it was going to make the cut. He shot like 81 the first round. And so he said, why don't you go out and cover Palmer's last round to golf? I was thrilled. I said, hey, Ben, I can't thank you enough for letting me do this. He says, yeah, you deserve it. He said, no, you've been around for a while. You knew what you're doing. He says, you're not going to get many calls in the truck.
Right.
He said, but it's going to be neat to see. I said, okay, I'm there. So they did. And they said, look, and then they got there early because everybody in Western Pennsylvania was there. I want to tell you. And he loved it. But he really loved people. I don't know him at all.
Yeah.
So I to him, but he really was a man of the media. Golf discovered him. TV and golf.
Yeah.
TV and him find each other together.
Yeah.
And that was a wonderful marriage. That kicked off what we have today.
Yes.
And he was very big part of it anyway. So I have the picture of the book. I tried to get rid of the cameraman who was taking the picture. I couldn't get him out of it. So I got to leave it. That's a great picture.
Yeah,
really cool. The big hat that he used to wear. Yeah. Not very often, but he wore it to his wife. And he had tears in his eyes. He was waving to people. Some were 18. That's uphill a little bit. And I just looked around and I thought, this is really neat. This is a neat. I did no work at all. They didn't get to work 2 or 3 questions the whole thing. And I said, this is so cool. And I'm so glad I'm inside the ropes because I can see everything. I wasn't near him. I didn't hear him talk to anybody because they asked us to stay as close as we can to the ropes, especially if the golfers are on that side of the game. And you know what I mean? So you try to be wallpaper as much as we can. It's difficult to be wallpaper because you have all these credentials and keep them there on. It could be heady. It could go to your head if you want it, if you let it. I never let it. I knew my position, put it that way. A lot of people did. I got fired because they thought they were big deal to add on to the stuff.
Yeah.
So, he was terrific. And then something I didn't do very often when his round was over, I went to the media, which I'm not allowed to go to. I have a media pass. Didn't go very often. I wanted to see his final press conference, and that was really cool. And he went over his round. It's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go over your round.
Right.
On the fifth hole, I had a and then he said that he thanked everybody. So I want to thank everybody for being a good fan of mine and all you guys do. And he had tears in his eyes. And he's very calm. He just said, goodbye. I'll see you down the road and set the neck down. And wow, isn't that cool?
It's really cool that you got to meet him.
Yeah. That was cool.
And then the next year, as we switched from ABC to NBC, and you thought that you're done.
In 19, and ABC had the contract from, I don't know when it started, but it ended in 1995.
Right.
Okay. So it was a 20-year deal. So in 1995, ABC thought we were going to handshake like they did with the Masters and saying, see you next year.
Yeah.
And we're at least on bean counter again. I don't know. I keep hoping on a bean counter. I know you're a teacher. Some bean counter probably said, we should put this out for bid.
Right.
You got people like it, we got a good show.
Yep.
And so that's what happened. And ABC was really, they didn't get it.
Yeah.
We're offering to pitch. I think that one told me that if he was in the newspapers, it was relatively known. So they had three bids. They had Fox, NBC, and ABC. ABC loved their bid from what I hear, and they thought it was really great. NBC blew them out of the water, like tripled it. It was wow, wasn't even close. So NBC had 20 years, 1995 to 2015.
Wow.
And I'm out of a job again. I can't even spell NBC. I have no idea. I don't know where to begin. Well, I knew where to begin. I started calling ABC. They wanted to be on nothing.
Yeah.
They were so pissed. If you mentioned NBC, they had them up on you. It was awful, so embarrassing. And and it took me a year. A year to find Louis Serafin.
That just shows, though, like how much it meant to you.
Oh, well, it's the thing. I said, all my friends and the company I work for, my parents, and close friends. I don't have very many close friends, but a couple close friends. They said, John, what are you going to do? I said, well, I had a year.
Yes.
Basically, had a year. It was April when they were all changed hands. And I said, I got till the middle of June. Well, not really. I got till like the end of May to find a job. So I did. I started sort of very quietly. And it just was on my mind when Thanksgiving came.
Right.
And I'm saying, I'm still back to square one. I have no idea what's going on. And then I saw that card in the catering.
Yeah. That's cool.
But just so you know, every U.S. Open, I had tremendous amount of notes. I wrote a diary of every single thing that I did during the U.S. Open. All the groups I had, what they scored, anything goofy that happened, like the Jerry Pate thing.
Yeah.
I had these notes. I had all my credentials, all my property passes. I had all the sheets that got handed out to move the cabinets, where I had all of them, and a manila folder. And in my cellar, I have about 50 of them in a file cabinet. It's really organized quite by accident. I don't know how or why I did that. I'm not that organized. I'm not a slob. I'm not that organized, but I couldn't do this without that.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it. And so now I'm saying to myself, oh shit, I don't really want to keep doing this. I really do. I'm good. I know I'm good. I don't know anybody at NBC. And I'm going to keep trying.
Yeah.
You talk about being shut out and yelled at you.
Right.
I can't help you. Don't bother me. But anyway, so because it was March, something like that, I'm going through my notes. I'm going through my folders. And I see this camera. I said, look at this guy. He knows me, but I used to help him. I contend the book. I'd be, he's no. Right. I don't know his name. He was Joe. And anyway, so I called him. I remember calling him on the phone. He answered the phone, California. That's where he's from, California. And I said, hey, you remember me? I used to help you. Oh, yeah, John. How you doing, John? Everybody knew he's John from Philadelphia. I'm John. Not a John Supreme. It's a common name.
Right.
I was John from Philly.
Yeah.
That's how they knew me. And I was also one of the oldest people doing that job too. What else used to do? 20s and 30s. And by now I'm in my late 40s, early 50s, right? And so he said to me, he said, look, I don't know if I can help you, but I know who I called, and I'll give you this guy's name. He's in the production department, but he's in the special services. Maybe he'll end up to have. If I get a hold of him, he gives me the phone number for the production trailer, and as I say, the rest is his.
Yeah.
I actually called Lou Serafin at home. He was lived in Vista, California. And I know where Vista, California is. I've been to Vista, California. My brother-in-law used to live there. So I say, yeah. So I purposely called him at 3 PM.
Yeah.
Noon. I didn't make that mistake again. And Louis answers the phone. This is late May. That's the 20th of May.
Yeah.
And I said, I called him Mr. Serafin. I ended up, he's Louis. Because you know, everybody called me Louis. Okay, he was a Louis too. He looked just like a Louis.
Yeah.
So I said, well, Louis, and I tell him my Reader's Digest version of my situation, 3 sentences. He says, well, if you've been doing it that long, you know how unreliable some of the people are that do this.
Yeah.
Because they're all a college kid.
Right.
And I said, I am aware of that.
Yeah.
He said, well, I'm filled up. I said, you should be filled up because it's the end of May. I got 2.5 weeks to go. I understand you're being filled up. I get that.
Right.
And he said, but if you want to, take a ride to Shinnecock. And I told him I'd been to Shinnecock twice. I said, I've been to Shinnecock already. I know the golf course really well.
Yeah.
Oh, and I said, I know the area. He said, you never been to Shinnecock? He said, yeah, NBC's never been there.
Right.
You never had a U.S.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, no. I said, well, I could be some help to you. I'm grasping at straws.
Yeah.
And he said, all right. He said, look, can't guarantee a thing, but he said, if no one shows up, I'll get a hold of him. It's just no cell phones.
Yeah.
No email, no texting, no nothing, right? But I said, all right. I said, here's what we're going to do, Louis. I said, I'm going to go to Shinnecock, the week of the U.S. Open, and I am going to stay at a hotel myself, and I'm going to give my wife the phone number where I could be contacted. No cell phone. The phone inside the bed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I said, what's going to happen if you lose somebody? You call my wife and Havertown. Her name is Chris, and Chris will get a hold of me at Shinnecock, or East Hampton or Southampton. And he said, okay. And I'm saying to myself, this is never going to work.
Right. Yeah.
This is what am I, crazy? Anyway, so I go to Shinnecock. My wife says to me, now don't forget, I have done zero planning. I don't have a hotel. I have nothing. I have nothing. And it's raining like on Monday night. And so I drive to Shinnecock. It was too heavy rain. But again, say in my book, my father told me there were 2 things that are well named in the United States: Grand Canyon, Long Island. I said, boy, was he ever right. Long Island.
Yeah, it does feel like you're going correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it goes like this.
Yeah.
Route 27, Sunshine Drive, it's like a highway. Anyway, so I get there and there's this really nice hotel that has vacancies, which never happens. Never happens. This is a big deal now. This is the U.S. Open. It's a big deal now. And in East Hampton again.
Right, you're in the Hamptons, yeah.
And then everything from New York City is filled up, okay? Anyway, so what they say, the USGA screwed it. They moved all these people out to some other place. I have no idea where they went. And this guy stuck. I got the right price. It was great. I give him cash. I'm in. Now that's half a dollar. I figured I'm going to be in like the Mustang Motel.
Yeah.
I had Ford Mustang at the time.
Yeah.
I was going to sit outside of like a 7-Eleven with the phone. That's what I was going to do. And say, listen, I'm at this phone booth outside the 7-Eleven. I have no place to stay. I'm sleeping in my car.
Yeah.
That's what I planned to do that. So I got this wonderful hotel, which I forget what it was. It was a Quality Inn or something. And it wasn't the Taj Mahal, but it was really nice for me.
Yeah.
And that happened. My wife calls me around 9:15 and says, Louis, just call your friend Louis. You go, my friend. Because your friend Louis called me and says, if somebody can use you. And he said, this has a credential for you Wednesday morning at the, we'll call. It was usually out, outside.
Yeah.
And he said, we'll see you there. That's a true story.
It's awesome.
And I thought to myself, okay, the golf gods are on my side here. because I know now I could make this.
Yep.
Because they have a 20-year contract.
Yep.
Okay. And I know I'm going to be okay. But when I did meet Louis, and he was very honest with me, and we got along really well too. He said to me when I first started working for him, he said, I don't know you, so I'm not giving you any good news.
Yeah.
Because they only hired Paul This again, it was instant replay of ABC, NBC.
Yeah.
It was no difference at all.
Yeah.
The only difference was the 3 letters.
Yeah.
ABC, that's the only difference. And everything was the same. And he said, but I don't know you. I don't trust you yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you, two guys you never heard of who you're going to try out.
Right.
Try out. So that's fine. I don't care. I did well. I wasn't worried about that at all. And he and I became pretty funny. He's a goofy guy. I used to call him this. He's a snake. He was a snake. He got fired. I don't know how he got fired, but I liked him a lot. We get along really well. And he told me some stories about what his life was. There used to be a music tour caddy for a while.
Really?
But just it wasn't a book about Louis surfing. It was a book about surfing. But I had other Louis surfing stories I could have put in there. I thought, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those stories really got the dad on him.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing with the driving race was enough.
Yeah.
Where it says to me, just go pull a club and take it in. They're going to stop you. I'm saying to myself, that's how he got his car.
Right. Yeah.
That's how he got his car. And I thought, listen, I'm not a Boy Scout, and I've done some bad things in my life, but I'd never do something like that. So anyway, I didn't do that. Anyway, yeah. So, but he and I get along really well, and everything went well there.
The next year, 96 Oakland Hills, when they had the big rain out, you saw Lehman at the movies.
The tournament wasn't that important. But the Lehman sort of won. But yeah,
that was cool how you were there when he
I was on the team with him. Yeah, I assigned that group. But yeah, this rainstorm came through, and it was just it was scary. It was really scary. It was like a squall coming down, from the Midwest through there. Oh my God. I thought it would be a tornado, and they told everybody to get out.
Yeah.
And they go. It was Wednesday. Yeah. It was Baptist around me. He said, go on. So I went to the movies, and he was there at the movies. What was it called? The Rock. The Rock. Anyway, and so
you were there on the 18. Was that Sunday?
On Sunday afternoon. Yeah, I was on 18 team. I was assigned this group because by now Louis knew who I was, and I was getting really good groups, and it was fine. And so we're there. And this caddy, I can't think of his name right now, said, "The one thing you don't want to do, because Lehman's go-to shot was a high draw. Okay, this is a dog leg right, and there's a trap in the corner, you see.
Yeah.
And the caddy's just saying common sense. Don't hit your driver.
Yeah.
Just hit something down there in the valley."
Yeah.
He said, "No, it's a high draw into the trap. It's a short. It's an arm. He makes a bogey." And this is assuming I forget who won. Anyway, you'll notice at the bottom of every chapter.
Yeah, I like how you did that.
Yeah, I was advised against that.
Really?
Yeah. And I said, no, I'm doing that.
Yeah, I like that.
Even though a lot of the stuff in here doesn't apply here. But people are like, no, hey, who won that?
Yeah,
who won the Pinehurst that day?
That's exactly right.
We didn't hear that guy's name the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wonder who won. And here it was. Okay, Michael Campbell. Yeah, right? So I thought that's a good idea.
So right.
That was my idea.
And then 98, you were there on 18 when Lee Jansen won and Payne Stewart was above the hole, putted off the green.
Oh, that was an Olympic again. Yeah, it was Olympic. Yeah. I felt so sorry for him because he was such a nice guy too. And I can remember seeing him on 8. I didn't have his group. I had Jensen. Jensen won there.
Yep.
And I had his stuff. He was the third to the last group. Payne Stewart was last group. And should not be above the hole. You cannot be above the hole. And there he was above the hole. He barely touched that ball. And the amphitheater around 18, all big, just a big mound, beautiful place. And it had to be 3,000 people, sitting there. And if you hit that ball, and it just, it's like putting on this.
Yeah.
You see, it kissed the edge and rolled off the green. He chipped up and probably lost by 1. So,
and then
Lee Jansen, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next year you were there again on 18 with Stewart and Nicholson, right?
Oh, that was at
Pinehurst.
I was, yeah, but let me I didn't put this in the book either because it's an advertisement. A company, Ryder Cargo,
Yeah.
in the middle, well, actually middle, I would say about an hour and a half before the leaders were coming up 18. They had like 10 people came and gave everybody in the gallery a red Ryder hat, a visor. It was, you should see the whole, if you see that picture,
Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
You'll see these in this bright red. And I thought, that was really a smart.
That was
line over. They planned that baby out. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that, and I did put that in the book either just well as advertisement. But anyway, I thought that was kind of a cool thing. But yeah, the following year I was at Pinehurst. The following year I forget.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah, and I was assigned him and Payne Stewart during the final group on Sunday, and I had that group. And what a terrible day! It's rain and yeah.
He cut off the sleeves of his jacket.
Yeah, because I usually didn't go to do the first tee. I usually went to the area what they call the landing
area,
the landing zone. And I thought I got there early, and I said, you know what, I'm going up to the first tee and see what's going on up there. And there's a big area up there, the Big Ten. People getting out of the rain. And there's Payne Stewart. It's crazy, isn't that? And so he became the trendsetter.
Yeah,
he really did. I can't believe he's called. And Mickelson was there, and I guess they were friends. And, I don't know. I wasn't that close to him, but I remember him on the 18th. I was close enough to see him on the 18th when he grabbed a picture. You're going to be a great dad. I'm almost sure that's exactly what he said that summer. I guess it was.
Yeah.
We're playing fast in the spring or summer.
Yep.
Next day. But yeah, that was neat to see. I don't think I had a special relationship with his wife, Amy. I think she had a special relationship with everybody she ever met. She's the most friendly person you'd ever want to meet.
Yeah.
When we were the Ryder Cup at Brookline. This was a historic Ryder Cup. It's the one that they won.
Oh yeah.
Behind and had the ugly golf shirts.
Yep.
When I was assigned to Mickelson's group on Friday, she ran over to me, gave me a big hug.
Hey, really?
I was so embarrassed. Because I'm tall, she's this big, right? And she says, "You're John from Philly, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, I am."
That's cool.
And yeah, and she says, "I love when you have my husband, no, you should say husband, you have Phil. Because he always plays Phil when you're around."
Yeah.
And people are looking at me like I'm a poor. No, I was mortified. But then I found out she took us over everything. I felt better. I don't think it was false. I think what you told me was true. I believe that. And so when I told my brother-in-law, who married my daughter, my son-in-law, and a 3 years ago, I told him that story. He said, "You're going to get Amy Mickelson to write their foreword." And I said, "No, it's not." I said, "I am not. She doesn't have any idea who I am, She said, "That would be really cool." I said, "Yeah, it would be cool."
Would have been cool.
That ain't happening.
That's it for now on this episode of That's Good, Pick It Up. You've just heard part 2 of a 3-part series where Nate Oxman interviews John McLaughlin to hear more about 32 years behind the scenes of the U.S. Open. Come back next week for the 3rd part of this series, and be sure to check out bestball.com for all the other great podcasts. Until next time, this is Robbie signing off for That's Good, Pick It Up.